From pressures to priorities. Live your life each day as you would climb a mountain. An occasional glance toward the summit keeps the goal in mind, but many beautiful scenes are to be observed from each new vantage point. Climb slowly, steadily, enjoying each passing moment, and the view from the summit will serve as a fitting climax for the journey. When I was 14 years old, I went to California with a group of kids my age and some of our parents. We went to Santa Monica Beach to see the ocean. None of us had been there before, so this was a real treat for us. When we got there, we decided to try body surfing. We saw others doing it, and it looked fun and much less difficult than regular surfing. Soon, we learned how it was done and found ourselves out in the water preparing for the waves to come our way. We had a blast trying out this new sport. When a large wave approached, I started swimming as hard as I could, hoping to time it perfectly. I found myself riding the wave in toward the shore. Suddenly, the wave churned and I plunged down, head first, into the sand under the water. I hit with a strong force, but I was okay. I gathered myself and came up for air, only to have another similarly strong wave pound me again. Down I went to the ocean floor. I lost all control. The only thought that came to my mind was that I needed to get above the water to get some air. I struggled and finally made it to the surface. Gasping for air, another strong wave knocked me off my feet and sent me quickly back down to the sandy sea floor. This struggle with the sea lasted 2 more powerful waves. By this time, my energy was spent. Fortunately, the waves had carried me close enough to the shore where my friends, who saw what was happening, quickly dragged me to safety. I rested for quite some time until I regained sufficient strength to go back out into the ocean. When people tell me about their days and about how they spend their time, it sounds a lot like my experience that day in the ocean. Wave after wave of stressful events knock them off their feet. They barely make it up for air when another wave hits them. Soon they wear out, fatigued from the constant daily battle. The paradigm of the person who lives each day according to the daily grind of too many things to do and not enough time to do them is this: everything is equally important. I have to take care of all of it. And if I don't do it all successfully, then I'm a failure. There's just not enough time to do it all. It's a very stressful way of managing our time and our life. The paradigm of the person who lives by priorities is this: some things are more important than others. I give priority to those things that help me achieve my mission. I first do what I can about those most important things and the things that relate to my mission and purpose. This is a much more peaceful, as well as much more fulfilling way to live each day. Let's investigate why. In the many years that I have been teaching stress management, I've observed that one of the most commonly reported causes for a person's stress is his or her inability to manage time. Many people haven't figured out how to make time their ally rather than their enemy. These skills are not commonly taught in schools. Many people just don't know about effective ways to manage their time. They flounder about trying to figure out some system for controlling what to do and when to do things. Ultimately, they end up with something resembling a to-do list. When they don't complete the items on the list, the resulting feelings are guilt, frustration, and disappointment. To make matters worse, the lists never seem to get any smaller. People just keep adding to the list without the satisfaction of a completed task. When this happens, they start to feel the relentless waves crashing down on them. So what is time? Our experience tells us that time moves in a specific direction from the past, through the present, and into the future. However, when we talk about mindfulness a little later on, I will relate to you the idea that it is always now, this present moment. We only have this moment to live. We can't live in our own future or our past. There are no exceptions to this rule. This present moment is all we ever get. Another aspect of time is how fast it moves. If I look at a clock with the second hand and watch it move around the clock, it seems to go at a precise pace. However, when I take my eyes off the clock, suddenly the speed at which time moves never seems to be constant. Let's say I'm watching a movie with my wife. It's one of those romantic comedy types, which aren't my favorites. I love being with my wife, but I don't love the movie. It seems to last forever. Time, in this instance, moves at a much different speed than when I compare it to the times when I'm doing something I really enjoy doing, like playing racquetball or riding my bike. Another thing that I've noticed about time is that most of us have much more spare time than we think we do. In my stress management class, I give my students the assignment of keeping a time log. In a time log, you keep track of every minute of every day and what you did during that time. The students always return somewhat amazed. Before doing this time analysis, they all believed that they live very busy lives and have very little spare time. After this assignment, the students always conclude that they have far more spare time than they thought they did. They notice that they waste a lot more time than they had previously thought. If you analyze your own time in the same way, I have a feeling that you will come to the same conclusion. Another characteristic of time is that each of us has the same amount in a day. Each of us has 168 hours every week. We each get 24 hours in a day. Yet we frequently hear people saying, "I don't have time for such and such." What they are really saying is that they have chosen to spend their moments in certain ways, and they have chosen not to spend their time doing all the other possible things that they could do. Additionally, you always do what you want to do. You may think that you have to do something, but you don't. Nobody is forcing you to do anything at any time. There are consequences for what you do or decide not to do, and you may not want those consequences, but you always have a choice about what you do. You may not always like what you do, but you always spend your time the way you choose to spend it. Every moment, you choose what you'll do. When I mention to my students that they always choose how they spend their time, and that they're free to spend their time any way they choose, they become a little uncomfortable. They're not accustomed to having that much freedom. I tell them they don't have to be in class, they don't have to go to work. They don't have to eat lunch at a certain time, and they don't have to sleep the same hours of the night as nearly everyone else. They really don't have to do anything. They always have a choice about what they do with their time. Always. We say that we have to do something or we have to be somewhere, but we don't. What we do with our time is always our choice. With these important characteristics of time in mind, let's discover some useful time management strategies that might help you manage your time better and thus remove the stress that comes from poor time management in the next video, Time Management Strategies.